factor 8xy plus 12x minus 4 minus 6. You'll notice right away that we have 4 terms on this polynomial, so we're probably going to want to try a grouping method to factor. You'll also notice, though, that each of the coefficients is even, so we're going to be able to factor out a 2 to start things off. So let's do that. Take a 2 out of the 8, we're left with a 4, still times xy, plus 2 from the 12, left with a 6, minus, factor the 2 out of the 4, we're left with a 2, still that y. Factor a 2 out of that, minus 6, we're left with a 3. So here is a polynomial that now we can try and go ahead and do a grouping method with. So why don't I hopefully change pen colors. There we go. Why don't we go ahead and try and group these first two things together, and then group these second two together. I want to be very careful when I group these second two together because of that negative sign. So if I go ahead and put my grouping symbol here, did you see what I just did? This negative sign now applies to this negative sign that already is there, and it turns it into a positive sign. But we want to leave it as a negative 3. So I'm going to have to go ahead and change that negative sign to a positive sign so that when we distribute that negative, we get the negative 2y that we want, and we also get a negative 3 like we want. So anytime I put my grouping symbols in front of a subtraction, I want to be very careful about any of my other additions or subtractions that are going on inside. I want to make sure that at the end of the day, these things did not change, right? So I had to change it because I changed it here. So I changed it twice. I changed it once by adding this parenthesis, and then I get it again by changing it there. All right, so I put in my parentheses, and now I have it grouped that way. I should mention another way that we could have correctly grouped this. My 2y, I'm just writing this second half, minus 3, is instead of putting my grouping symbol, let me change pen colors again real quick. Instead of, seems like I have to change it 3 times before it takes. Okay, let's see. Nope, I am going up to this menu and changing it each time, and it never takes. All right, maybe we'll stick with red. So instead of putting my parentheses between the number and this subtraction sign, I'm going to think of this, instead of a subtract 2y, I'm going to think about it as add negative 2y, and I put my grouping symbol there. And now this plus sign didn't change the way that negative 3x. So that's another option. Instead of changing the sign here and putting my parenthesis between the minus sign and the 2, I could have added a plus symbol and put my parenthesis there. So back to the grouping. We have these two things grouped. Let's see what we can do. 2 is still 2. These are grouped. What can I factor out of those guys? Well, there's a 2 in the 4 and a 2 in the 6. I can take that out. There's an x here. There's an x there. I can pull out a whole 2x. All right, I took a 2 out of the 4. It leaves me a 2. Took the x out. The x is gone. Y's there. So I have a 2y. I took the 2 out of the 6. That leaves me a 3. I took the x out, so that's what I have there. And now minus, what do I have here? Well, no common terms, right? I have 2's here, I have 3's there, I have y's here, no y's there. So I'm just left with a 2y plus 3. Okay, and now, here was the magic of grouping. I say, oh, I have 2 new terms, this thing and that thing. This term has a 2y plus 3. This one has a 2y plus 3 as well. So I can take that common bit, that common factor, and pull it out, right? So I still have my 2 sitting out front. Now I have a 2y plus 3 that I've pulled out. After I pull the 2y plus 3 out, I'm left with a 2x here. Minus, after I pull this out, there's a 1. Don't forget your 1. All right? And here is my factoring. This one causes some people a lot of problems. They pull it out and they say, oh, it's gone, and then they think of this as being nothing there. But remember, we pulled out a factor, and so it was 1 times this other thing, not 0 times that other thing.